Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, we're living in crazy times, okay? We're living in times where literally things are being flipped up on their head. That which was seen to be right for millenniums is now being seen to be wrong. And that which was seen to be wrong is now seen to be right. Matter of fact, I'm not even talking about from an Islamic perspective, but basic moral rights, moral and ethical rights, and moral and ethical wrongs, which are universally accepted across all religions, all races, all peoples, all tribes, all nations, all continents, are now suddenly in the 21st century being flipped on their head. And things seem out of control. For example, modesty, this concept of modesty and a woman covering her beauty was something that was accepted for millenniums among societies and cultures and religions and races of all kinds. But now for the first time in history, you can actually be a criminal for modesty. You can actually be a criminal for your shyness. You can actually become a criminal and be committing a criminal offense because you want to guard your chastity. Look at France, for example. This concept of banning the niqab. A woman, it is illegal for her to wear niqab in France. She is now a criminal because she wants to be modest. She wants to be shy. She wants to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas a woman who wants to reveal and show her body, she's praised. She's seen as forward and progressive. She's seen as with the times and integrated in society. She's wearing next to nothing. She's subjugating herself to nothing more than a piece of meat, causing herself to become degraded and lose value as a human being in society. Not only that, she's becoming a catalyst for fornication because she's becoming an allure and a temptation for other men. Who are no doubt now going to be attracted to her, who are going to come to her, and they're going to fornicate, and then all the problems that come with fornication, all the sexually transmitted diseases, all of the social and economic problems that come, single parent families, children born without fathers, and all of the other stuff that happens. Yet the catalyst for that, or one of the catalysts for that, which is a woman who's not dressing in modesty, and a man who's being encouraged towards that kind of a woman, right? A man who's being encouraged to that kinds of women. And that's seen as praiseworthy, whereas a woman who's seen to be covering is seen as a criminal. And men who want that in a woman or in a wife or whatever are seen to be men with an oppressive, barbaric mentality. All right, things are being flipped on their head. Furthermore, we've got this whole concept of gender neutrality. Homosexuality and lesbianism was one thing, but now they've pushed it to gender neutrality. Whereas you, as a person, not just as a person, children in primary school are being pushed towards this. That you as a child do not have to actually identify as a particular gender. You may be a boy with male sexual organs, but you don't have to identify as a male. You can identify as a female. And it would actually be disrespectful for me to now say that. Some places of work, like for example, people who work, for like public transport, like the TfL, they can't say ladies and gentlemen anymore. That's offensive to say ladies and gentlemen because there might be a man with male body parts who identifies as a female. So for him, he's not a man, he's not a lady, nor is he a gentleman. He's somewhere in between. So it's actually offensive, it's actually rude, it's actually disrespectful, and you could get in trouble. For what? For saying ladies and gentlemen. Like, we live in like things that are just basic, like, bruv, with all respect, you've got a male organ, you're a man. You've got a female, you're a female. But it's been flipped on its head. And now you actually have organizations that are working towards what? Paedophilic rights. Homosexual paedophilic rights. There is a movement taking place in the United States of America trying to encourage men and young boys to be able to have relationships legally. And to be honest, that will probably happen. Because things that are happening today that we never thought would happen. It's happened before our very own eyes. We've got a Muslim who might be a crazy individual who happens to kill people, and he used to be a criminal, a drug addict, a person going clubbing his whole life, but suddenly he just decides to kill people, and he happens to shout some Islamic slogans at the time he does it, and straight away he'll be labelled as a terrorist, rightly so, but his religion, i.e. Islam, will be referenced as the problem for his radicalization. Whereas a person who is a redneck, extreme white supremacist, right-wing conservative in America, shoots up the biggest amount of people in Las Vegas, the biggest killing in America that's happened in decades and decades, murdering 50 plus people in cold blood in Las Vegas. And injuring so many more. I think the injury toll was over 100, and he just gets called a person with mental issues. Like, well, we live in a day and age where things are literally topsy-turvy. And we need a solution, we need clarification. How do we make amends now? How do we make amends universally as the human race? Because the human race is receding and not progressing in terms of morals, ethics and society. But also, how do we progress as a Muslim community who's been subjugated to this oppression and humiliation? I want to read upon you some statements from Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah. And this particular statement, the first one, is from Kitab al-Fawaid, in which he mentions the reason for why so much craziness is taking place on the earth. He said, لما عرض الناس عن تحكيم الكتاب وسنة المحاكمة إليهما والسنة والمحاكمة إليهما. He said, whenever the people they turn away from the Quran and the Sunnah and governing and legislating in accordance to the Quran and Sunnah, not necessarily on a governmental level, but even in your families, in your houses, in your businesses, when people turn away from taking the Quran and the Sunnah as a way of governing their life and as a guideline on how to live, right? And then what they turn towards other than the Quran and Sunnah. For example, what do they turn to? إلى الآراء. They turn towards their own logic, their own thoughts, their own opinions. I believe this. 21st century, we need to do this. I think this. Always using I, and going to your own personal subjective understanding, right? While qiyas, using analogies, this happened. Just basically, just again, using your own opinions. Wal aqwal al-shuyukh. They refer to, my sheikh said this, your sheikh said this, his sheikh said this, my sheikh believes this. You bring an ayah from the Quran, he rejects it because what? His sheikh said so and so. This sheikh studied for this many years. He said this, how can he be wrong? And all that kind of stuff. The sheikh continues, right? He said, when they do this, when the people do this, they turn away from the Quran, they go to their opinions, they go to their desires, they go to the statements of their sheikh, and they reject the Quran and the Sunnah. He said, فَسَادٌ فِي فِطْرِهِمْ. Corruption will take place in their natural dispositions as humans. For example, the basic morals and ethics that every human being is supposed to be born with, right? That will become corrupted. For example, this concept of gender neutrality. Everyone knows a boy is a boy and a girl is a girl, right? With all due respect, your private parts are testimony to that. They're testimony to that. But look, the fitrah becomes corrupted. People enjoy, look, they work all week for that Friday night. Why? So they can get drunk out of their minds, hump and sleep each other like animals, wake up in the morning with a hangover, splitting headache, hate themselves, vomiting, peeing, urinating all over themselves, only to go back to work all week for that Friday night once again, and to repeat that whole same process. And they actually live for that. The fitrah has been corrupted. The Shaykh says, وَظُلْمَةٌ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. Darkness is placed over their hearts when they turn away from the Quran and Sunnah like this. Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Darkness is placed over their hearts. Depression, sadness. In this country, the suicide toll is rising every year and it's at an all-time high. Countries like Norway, where they have the best living conditions, guess what? They also have the highest suicide rates. And you know what? There's another thing that adds to that shows you why this is happening. They also have the highest atheist rate. So you're the biggest atheist, and that means freedom. You've got the best living standards, and you've also got a bigger suicide rate. ظُلْمَةٌ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. Darkness is in their hearts. And the Shaykh mentions other things. And the Shaykh, look what he says, and this part is powerful. He says, the situation gets so bad. فَبَطْنُ الْأَرْضِ. He said that what is underneath and hidden inside the earth, the dead people who are on their graves, وَاللَّهِ خَيْرٌ مِّن ظَاهِرِهَا. He said, Wallahi, I swear by Allah, what is in the earth, the ones who are dead, they are better than those who are alive on top of the earth. Those who are buried, it's better to be, the situation gets so bad that being dead is better than being alive now. He says, وَقُلَلُ الْجِبَالِ خَيْرٌ مِّنَ السُّهُولِ. The high mountains are now better than the low grounds. Which obviously, generally speaking, is not true, right? Living in the mountains is hard. The animals that are there, you could get attacked. The breathing problems you have, the temperature, and the fact that the ground is not straight, it's not relaxed. Building houses is problematic. Traveling is problematic. You know, the flat ground is the best place to inhabit. But the Shaykh said, no, the situation gets so bad because you got to run to the mountains now. Being on the mountains and in those difficult situations is better than being on the flat ground because of the corruption. And then look what he says. He said, وَمُخَالَةَ الْوُحُوشِ أَسْلَمُ مِنْ مُخَالَطَةِ النَّاسِ. He said, mixing and hanging around with the animals, with the beasts, with the lions, with the monkeys, with the rhinoceros, with the meerkats, with the animals. He said, that is now safer than hanging around with the human beings. It's safer than hanging around with the human beings. These human beings now are going to corrupt your heart. They're going to corrupt your thinking. They're going to corrupt your religion. You join them, you hang around with them, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Your religion's going to go. Your morals are going to go. You are now going to become a corrupted person. You're going to be involved in crimes, riba, drugs, alcohol, murder, gangs, fornication, adultery, backbiting. So, because the people have become like that. It is better now for you to hang around with the lions in the jungle. And is it safe to be in the jungle? No. The lions can eat you. But the Shaykh is saying because of the situation, how corrupt it is better. You're actually more safe in the company of the lion than you are with these people. So that was the Shaykh's statement from Kitab al-Fawaid, explaining why this is happening and the extent to which how things will get corrupted. And wallahi, he's right. We see this today. There's a direct correlation between people turning away from the Quran and Sunnah and at the same time turning, involved in filth. Wallahi, man, you got Muslims, man. Like I heard, you got hijabi YouTubers out there talking about the permissibility of wearing tattoos. You got sisters who are in hijab and abaya. They are what? They are singing dirty, filthy lyrics about men's private parts. In hijab and abaya, little girls, probably in GCSEs, 10, 11, talking about man's private parts. That's the day and age we're living in. That's the filth that we're living in. It's better now to be chilling with the beasts in the jungle. And why did this happen? Because we as Muslims and we as people have turned away from the Quran and the Sunnah. We've turned away from the Quran and Sunnah. And remember, when we say Quran and Sunnah, everyone claims to have Quran and Sunnah, but it's because they don't understand what Sunnah really means. Sunnah means the path of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, because the Sunnah of the Prophet and the Sunnah of the Sahaba is the same. And we explained that in the Manhaj Monday series, which you can watch by going to the playlist of this YouTube channel. I want to now read to you another statement of the noble Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah in his Ar-Risala At-Tubukiyya. Ar-Risalatu At-Tubukiyya. He mentions something powerful. Again, he echoes what he mentions, but then about the cause of this problem. But he also now brings forth a solution as well. He brings forth a solution, and that's why I want to share this with you. He says, دل هذا على أن طاعة الله وطاعة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم وتحكيم الله ورسوله هو سبب السعادة عاجلا وآجلا. ومن تدبر العالم والشرور الواقعة فيه علم أن كل شر في العالم سببه مخالفة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said that from this it is indicated that obeying Allah and obeying the Messenger and governing and legislating yourselves in your lives, your families and everything that you're involved in accordance to the commands of Allah and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is the reason for happiness. It's the reason for happiness. And then he said, وَمَنْ تَدَبَّرَ الْعَالَمِ, anyone who contemplates and ponders on what's happening in this world and the evil that has now taken place in this world. So ponder with me, brothers and sisters. He said, عَلِمَ أَنَّ كُلَّ شَرٍ فِي الْعَالَمِ سَبَبُهُ مُخَالَفَةُ الرَّسُولِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, just by pondering on the evil, look at all the evil that you see around you, all the evil. He said, when you ponder on this evil, you will see that the reason that all of this evil came is why? Because the people oppose the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at all the Muslims getting upset about these hijabi YouTubers, getting upset about these speakers who are coming out and these scandals that are taking place, and all the problems in the Muslim community. Wallahi, it all came back to just not listening to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded us. When we try to tell people, listen, look, follow the Sunnah. The Sunnah of the Prophet is known by the Sahaba are the Salaf. This is how you understand the religion. People didn't listen. And they carried on, and now they have problems. So many sisters messaging me and they tell me, brother, I'm pregnant. I said, well, what can you do? Can I get an abortion? No, abortion is murder, sister. You can't get abortion. No. But now you have to understand, why did this happen to you, sister? Mukhalafatul Rasul. You opposed the messenger. It was clear that you were supposed to lower your gaze. You weren't supposed to be alone with a man and all this and so on and so forth. But you didn't listen. So now it happened. Sisters, they go get married without a wedding. They just find a guy and they marry him without their fathers, playing the role as the guardian. And guess what happens? The guy beats her. The guy oppresses her. That marriage is not valid anyway. That's not marriage is not valid anyway because the wedding needs to be present. But the point is that, from even a dunya perspective, he beats her. Because one of the wisdoms behind a woman being married off by her dad is that this man knows that, hold up, if I play with this girl, there's a dad that I'm going to have to answer to. But now she's getting beaten, broken, black and blue, but she's got no one to run to. Sister, you should have listened to the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We're going to help you, we're going to try and support you, we're going to find you support and help you get out of this mess. But remember, prevention is the cure. People come to me and they tell me I'm possessed. I'm saying, whoa, bro, what was your life like before you got possessed? I used to smoke, I used to drink, I used to listen to music, I used to watch pornography, I used to have girlfriends, boyfriends, chat to guys. Whoa, okay, well, these are all sins that directly lead towards what? That directly lead towards possession. Because the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is removed from you, so the jinn can enter into you. It's because you oppose the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Shaykh carries on. He said, فَلَوْ أَنَّ النَّاسَ أَطَاعُوا الرَّسُولَ صلى الله عليه وسلم حق طاعته. He said, if only the people obeyed the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam the way that he deserves to be obeyed. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ شَرٌّ قَطْ. He said, there would not be any evil in the world whatsoever in any way, shape or form. Not only that, he said, there will not be any evil, any problems in your own personal life. You won't be depressed, you won't be sad, you won't be suffering. No, none of that would happen. But then, after he told you, in the previous quote and this quote, that all of this is happening because we turned away from the Prophet ﷺ's command and his sunnah and the Quran and the command of Allah. After he told you all of this, that really the essence comes down to the fact that we're not obeying Allah, the one who created us, the one who knows exactly what's good for us and exactly what's not good for us. The fact that we turned away from all this is the very reason, the essence for why we're suffering. He now tells you, he said, فَعُلِمَ أَنَّ الشُّرُورِ الدنيا والآخرة إنما سببه الجهل بما جاء به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم والخروج عنه. After you've understood that it is actually the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم sunnah that we've turned away from, and that's the problem, he said, فعلم. Then now you come to know. Now you should know then that the reason for all of the evil in this world, its reason is الجهل بما جاء به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The reason for it is because people are jahil, they are ignorant, they don't have knowledge of what the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم came with. The Quran and the Sunnah, in other words. That's what it comes down to. Because if you had knowledge, then you wouldn't be making these mistakes. But we're not knowledgeable, we're ignorant. That's why we make these mistakes. The sister who got married without a wali got married because what? Because she didn't know the obligation of having a wali. She fell into the problem that the Shaykh mentioned in the previous quote. Oh, my Shaykh said this, my Shaykh. But with respect, no one cares what your Shaykh said. He's directly opposing what the Prophet ﷺ said. لا نكاح بغير ولي. There is no nikah without a wali. And several other examples like that. It's the reason why people are falling into these mistakes is because they're ignorant. They don't study. They don't have ilm. They're jahil of the sunnah. He said, وهذا برهان قاطع على أنه لا نجاة للعبد ولا سعادة إلا باجتهاد في معرفة ما جاء به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم علما وقيام به عملا. Powerful brothers and sisters. He said, if you have not understood this, that the reason for all of this is because of ignorance, he said, وهذا برهان, this is an evidence, قاطع, clear, strong, solid, على أنه, that there is no najat, there's no success, there is no safety for the slave, ولا سعادة, and no happiness for the slave, except, there's no way out of this mess, no way out of these problems, accept there's only one way, and that way is al-ijtihad. You have to strive, you have to work hard. في معرفة ما جاء به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. You have to strive hard to now understand and acquire knowledge of that which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. Ilman, in terms of knowledge, you have to strive hard to acquire that knowledge. Then after you've got that knowledge, وَالْقِيَامُ بِهِ عَمَلًا. You now need to stand to implement that knowledge. You now need to stand to implement that knowledge. So in summary, brothers and sisters, we're in a bad place. And we're in this bad place because we are ignorant of that which the Prophet ﷺ came with. If only we implement what he came with, which was the Quran and the Sunnah, all of these problems would go. And the promises of Allah will come through. That Allah would establish us in the earth. Allah will bring us safety, rizq from all different directions and avenues that we would have never imagined. And He will give us what? The best of Darain. The best of the two worlds. This world and the next life. And the only way to acquire that, if that is what our problem is, then the only way to overcome this problem, the only solution is to become knowledgeable and to study and seek knowledge of that which we're ignorant of, that which we're not applying, which is the Sunnah, which is the Quran. So we have to study it. We have to study it. Ilman wal-qiyamu bihi amalan. Study it and stand to implement it. Implement it. Don't just let it be a proof against you. For this reason, my beloved brothers and sisters, I would at this moment in time like to encourage you guys to start seeking knowledge. And I want to mention to you some practical ways quickly that you can seek knowledge. We have in Darus Salam Masjid every Monday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., a program, Monday to Thursday, a student of knowledge program that is being taught by Sheikh Abdurrahman Hassan Hafidhullah. This masjid is in South or West London, Darus Salam. Darus Salam Masjid, I'll put the information below. 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. If you guys can come, you will truly benefit. At the very least, we have Seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which we study every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at the same masjid. And the tafsir of the Quran every 7:30 p.m. every Friday at the same masjid. For those of you who are not local, for those of you who are not able to make it at these times, we have an online alternative for you. We have a program called the Knowledge College, in which you can start studying your religion through a step-by-step process. This college, on it, one of the teachers is myself. And we go through the classical knowledge, inshallah ta'ala. And our aim is to build you from a basic foundational beginner's level to hopefully a high level, inshallah ta'ala. And as we grow, you grow, we all grow together, inshallah ta'ala. The aim and objective of the program is three things. It is to teach you so that you can implement that knowledge, number one. Then the second level is to teach you so that you can now start to teach those around you in terms of your family and friends and people in your community. And the third level is for you to be able to defend the religion of Islam. And these are the three reasons for which Abdullah ibn Abbas, the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told us we should intend to seek knowledge, to implement it yourself, to teach those around you, and to defend this religion of Islam. So it would be amazing if you guys would go to the link below, Knowledge College link below, inshallah ta'ala. Check out the website, gain more information. Hopefully you will be persuaded to sign up and join us on this on the Student of Knowledge program, so we can study together, inshallah ta'ala. Bi-idhnillahi al-kareem. Share the video, like the video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.